Can you imagine completely transforming your old car interior into one that looks stunning? But what if you have no money? In this video, I will cut my perfectly good interior to create a custom one to bring this car into the future. Why? Because I'm on a mission to rebuild this wreck into something cooler than this, alone in my home garage. I've made a plan to repair the car, use the strange paint for a great result, stitched random damaged bumpers to create a one-off body kit, and I chose the wrong wheels for the right look. But after all the challenges that I faced and with only days left until the big show, am I going to finally catch a break or will it all fall apart? Stick around and find out. Today is Monday, the week of the show, and this is my interior. If some people say that the exterior of this car is bad, well, I think that the interior, it can't get any worse than this. It's just plastic fantastic. Even the engineers, when they've done it, they're like, yeah, we don't really know what to think, but you know what, it's fine, it's perfect, yeah, so it's just horrible, it is just bad. So I'm planning to completely transform this interior into something that would make a supercar owner blush. Therefore, the first thing that I'm planning to do is to get rid of this section, but this will leave me with a couple of problems to solve. First, under these trims there are two metal posts, and if I remove them the dashboard is going to be flimsy. And the second problem is I will be left with a massive hole right here in the dashboard. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to ask you to smash that like button. Seriously, it's free. And if in a few days new people still subscribe to our journey, it means that it worked and only you made this happen. I've cut this off. Now this bit I left it here and I've trimmed it right here because I'm gonna bend it just like so. And I have a new mounting plate for the new dashboard. I finished welding the metal post and I've installed them on the car. I'm just gonna show you now. These two are the ones, normally they would go all the way down, but now I've trimmed them. They are already welded, as you can see, and then this is the new mounting plate for the new trim that is gonna come on the dashboard. And they just secure with a couple of nuts on this metal bar that runs across the car. I'm fitting the dashboard and the center console to the car, and this is just an armrest that I had here in the garage. I have this for a while now, and I want to install it on this car because I think it really needs one, and who needs a cup holder here? So it opens and it slides. So this one is gonna go here. And because I have another damaged center console, I've realized that this could be a perfect fit. It has exactly the shape that I want, it goes straight and then down at the exact same angle as the dashboard. Plus, to make the gated shifter work, I need to bring the top end up. I'm measuring the distance from the center console to the front wall, and after I'm comparing to the size of the second one. I measured and marked where to cut, and I'm using the angle grinder to make it shorter, and I'm also removing the rear cup holder so that I can lay the two consoles together. I tested the two on the car and it looks to be alright, so now I'm making some small adjustments to where they meet. After that, I used a small piece of plastic to blank the hole for the handbrake that is on the front part of the console, and I'm trimming the top part to make room for the cup holders. However, when I tested the center console on the car, I realized that my cup holders placement was off. Because normally in the design was like here, one and then the second, but the first one would interfere with the gear change, so when you were putting it into gear, you would hit the drink. So that would be really annoying, so I had to push the cup holders a bit more further in and then side to side. And now that I have the overall size of the center console and I know that the cup holders will fit, I'm stitching the two parts together and also the top part of the gear levers around. I'm using some leftover plastic to fabricate the top, and I'm stitching the new part on with the stapler. But just a few minutes after I made the holes for the cup holders, these are the cup holders that I'm using. Very basic, but they're gonna be alright. The problem is, as soon as I put them next to each other and I took some measurements, they just don't fit inside the center console. But then I measured again, and if I put them next to each other like this, then I have enough space to install them. So what I'm going to do, I'm just gonna shave it flat here and here, and then I'm gonna push them together. And like this, I'm gonna have just about enough space to actually install them in the center console. Although I brought the cup holders as close as I could, it was still not enough to squeeze them inside. But as I was cutting the sides of the console as a temporary fix, I've just realized that I have a new problem. But first let me just show you the cup holders, and as you can see I've just made them flat here and here. Like this, I've just managed to bring them as close as possible together. But as I was finishing this, I've just realized that I need to do something else Otherwise, tomorrow I'm going to be stuck. And let me just show you what I mean. These are the new air vents that I'm going to use. And as you can see, they are round. And the hole in the dashboard, it is very rectangular. And as you can imagine, they do not fit together. So I need to solve this problem now. And because I designed an adapter part years ago for a different air vent, I just had to modify the hole diameter, which was an easy fix. I've set up the 3D printer and left it to work overnight. I'm using a FDM printer, meaning that the machine melts and pushes the plastic filament through a nozzle in layers until it builds the full shape of the part. Tuesday morning, 4 days to go. This is my interior. But shortly after I stepped outside, I could hear the beep that the part was ready. I'm removing it from the printer and I'm relieved to see that it came out good because I'm using ABS plastic, which is a bit more difficult to print but has a very high melting point, which makes it perfect to use inside the car. I'm separating the supports that have the role to help during the printing process. I'm making a few grooves for the new air vents to clear, and finally I can check if this will actually fit. Yeah, look at that. The fitment is perfect. And then this. Obviously it works. I spent 22 hours yesterday in the garage. It's just insane, and for the center console it started really well, everything worked alright, and then I ended up losing a lot of time just because of one issue, and that issue is the cup holders. And to be more precise, the center console is not wide enough. It just proved to be like a nightmare to do. I've stayed until 3 AM and to be honest, it's not perfect, but look at that. I have cup holders now. And with the center console done, it was time to move on to the dashboard. Now to solve the second problem, what I mentioned about the big hole that is going to be here, I just need to make a blank. So that is what I'm going to do right now. The blank is done. Let's see how it's going to actually fit on the dashboard.
Okay, this fits pretty well.
However, I finished the plate and installed it on the dashboard just to find out that I made a mistake and the console was not long enough. So I've cut it again, I took some measurements to make it longer and get rid of the gap. Because practicality is a very important aspect to my builds, this time I secured the center console with screws to ensure that it sits exactly where it's supposed to, and after I started to do the final checks. First I verified if it's easy to access the drinks without hitting anything, and after that I checked the gear changes to make sure that I won't hit the drinks placed in the cup holders. Last, I'm testing to see if a very tall drink is going to clear the dashboard or not. Despite the fact that I didn't have a lot of room for errors, my new cup holders location passed all the tests with flying colors. Finally, this Frankenstein of a center console is done now, or at least the basic shape. Now I just need to cut this out and install this here. I started by placing the armrest on top of the center console to mark it. I'm cutting the old cup holder section out and I'm trimming a bit the metal hinge because it was catching and I couldn't lift it up. Now that the metal hinge is out of the way, the rear part of the armrest is hitting the console. So I'm taking it apart to trim it a bit and after shape it with a heat gun, whatever is necessary to make it work. Finally, with all the cutting done, I'm mixing and applying filler to cover the stitches. I'm using body filler because it is the easiest to sand and also it doesn't really matter if it's going to have small cracks since this is going to be fully upholstered anyway. I'm sanding it by hand using a very coarse 80 grit paper on a block because I just need to bring it to a nice even surface so that the plastic stitches won't show after I'm applying the upholstery. Right, so the center console is finished. Translating it into, it actually has a shape, but that's about it. Don't think I have enough filler, but that's another problem. As you can see, I've kind of made a blank already. Normally here you should have those two struts, but yeah, those are gone. So this is going to be a blank. And then for the dashboard, I'm gonna start with the air vents. So this one is gonna go there. This one is gonna go there. The only thing that I'm left to do is to actually start cutting the dashboard, and as I was preparing to cut the dashboard and I took the disc out, this is not a cutting disc. So now I'm stuck. I'll have to call it a day. Wednesday morning, 3 days to go. I've been feeling really disappointed lately because everything moves so slow, but I received an email this morning and it is just so good. It says, congratulations, we are pleased to be able to let you know you have been chosen to show your car at Greenlight Plaza at Modified Nationals, which is unbelievable considering that I've just sent a few pictures with the car halfway done. So now I just have to kick it into gear and let's get this car done. Now to carry on for the side vents, this that is marked is going to be the part that is going to be shown. The rest is going to be underneath because it's going to be installed like this. So then I need to trim this, and to be able to trim it as perfect as possible to make my life easier, I just made like a simple template. It matches perfect. Now I just need to transfer this to this, mark it, cut it, and then we're ready. I aligned the template on the dashboard and I'm marking where I should make the cut. Now this probably is going to be too small, but I'd rather do it like this and then trim some more than cutting too much. With the dash marked, I started cutting it, but I soon realized that now I need to get rid of these mounting points because the new air vent needs to sit on a flat surface. So let's trim this away and we'll see how this is going to shape up. I installed a 60 grit flap disc on the angle grinder and I'm shaving all the extras from the back until it is flat. Now this is out of the way, I can flip it around, start trimming so that I can plant the new vent. And now that the back side is flat, I'm able to see how much I still need to remove. I trimmed the dash until I reached my mark, I tested the new air vent and then I repeated the process until I had the result that I wanted. So I'm very close now. This goes over here, like so. Now the only thing that is missing, I need a small ring here to push the vent a bit out, because I realize now it's a bit sunk in, so it doesn't really look that good. The steps are exactly the same on this side, so in theory it should take me less to do it. Yet, the left side was pretty much straightforward, where on this side is a bit more tight. Regardless, I took my time and managed to finish this side in about the same time as the other. The cutaway for the new vent is finished. I already rounded it up. Super pleased with it. This is going to be a test, and look at that. It just looks brilliant. And with the side vents finished, what I want to do is to cut this out to make space for the new screen. This is just a screen. The unit itself, it's wired through this ribbon and I can place it somewhere else. Probably it's gonna sit somewhere underneath here, so something like here. But yeah, this looks really, really good. This is super narrow, 8.8 inch. So it's gonna sit really low like this and it won't take any of the field of view of the driver, which is exactly what I wanted to have. So this is a modern infotainment system. It's gonna have CarPlay, Android Auto, and all the cool stuff that you want. Therefore, I need to cut and save this section because I'm going to reuse it later on. And after that, I used the flap disc on an angle grinder and trimmed the new hole until it was large enough for the new screen to slide in. I've cut this up to move the hazard lights. So now this is in. That works perfect. But now I need to take care of this problem here, because normally the passenger seatbelt light is over there. If I remove these, you'll see that there is a PCB here, but I am going to cut the PCB, because if you can look over here, that's the LED, but on the back it's actually just two connectors that go to power up the LED. So if I cut this, nothing will happen. And then I should have enough clearance for the new hazard light assembly. So I removed the climate control electrics from the housing, and after I'm gonna cut this, because then I'll know exactly where to cut the board. And plus, on a two-seater you can notice straight away if your passenger doesn't have the seatbelt on. I've cut the housing, installed the hazard lights button, and I can already see that it is hitting big time. So I had no other choice but to trim the housing more until the fascia is going to sit flat on the housing. And now that it is... This is not what I expected. It's on an angle down and I can't afford that. I need to push it up because I don't think I can cut anymore. So I made 2 cuts and left the bottom side attached so that I can install the button and pivot it up until it will clear the housing. And now, let's cut this right over here above the mounting point. I know it might look very extreme, but in reality, this is nothing more than cutting a positive and a negative to a light. There we go. Done. Thursday morning, 2 days to go. It looks like it is going to be impossible to make it to the show at this point. Yeah, it just looks like I still have so much things to do and not a lot of time. Time is really not on my side, and to be honest, I do not want to quit. I just don't want to quit now. I've been sacrificing way too much to quit right now, so I don't know how I'm going to make it, but somehow I need to make it work. I managed yesterday to stay late and finished this, and all of this. I really need a miracle now. What's left for the dashboard is to do the markings and then the trim. I marked the top center and used the cardboard that is flexible and has a straight edge to find the lower center. After that, I made a small template for the cutout and made small adjustments. When I was pleased with the design, I just flipped it and marked the other side. I have the template, well, half of it, but I'm just gonna flip it, and then I know that I'll have a perfect matching side. Now I just need to transfer this to plastic. When I made the fins for the rear bumper, I haven't used the entire piece of plastic, so now I'm transferring the template to the 6mm ABS sheet. I'm cutting the part out with a pendular saw as close as possible to the mark, and after, with the flap disc on the angle grinder, I'm giving it the final shape. I'm warming up the part with a heat gun, and I made sure that it was laying flat on the table to prevent it from getting warped. When it was soft enough, I transferred it to the dash to form the part into its new shape. But even with the gloves on, this was still very hot, so I grabbed an old mat to protect my hands from getting burned. I tried to apply pressure as even as possible to the entire surface until the plastic was cold enough to stay like this. And now that it cooled down into its new shape, I'm using the flap disc on the angle grinder to soften its edges by making gentle chamfers, and I'm making the last adjustments by hand. This is the trim for the dashboard. I finished it. As you can see, I rounded the edges really nice and neat, and then I've applied a bit of filler just to give it a bit more depth and obviously to get rid of all the imperfections that happened when I formed it. And now I just need to see how it fits, so let me just put this on and look at that. It is perfect. The whole idea for this trim was that this bit over here on the dashboard is gonna be in one texture, and then this will tie in together with the rest, and like this is just gonna make a bit more sense. Now that that is done, I need to make some new trims for the new center console. So I still have some plastic. This is really thin, and I can use this to make the new trims. But first I need to take some measurements from the center console and then make a template. I laid a piece of cardboard over the console and I'm marking the edges. After, I'm drawing a basic shape and I'm going to transfer this to plastic. I finished the trims, and this one should go here like this, and then let's see, this one, there you go. This is perfect. Now I just need to sand them and have them ready. It is literally 4 AM and it took me some time to get here, but these are all masked, sanded, degreased, and now I was debating if I should maybe take a shortcut and paint this piano black, but I think I'm gonna stick with the plan and just skin this in carbon. The problem is that this is a very tedious process that takes multiple stages of applying resin, the carbon fiber, then sanding and applying resin again. And in between each step there is also a waiting time, so I need to do this right now. I made this mistake before and I can't afford now to do it again, so the first thing that I did was to paint the filler black, because otherwise I can end up with the carbon all cured and with white spots showing from underneath. I mixed a small amount of resin and I placed the parts on this plastic bag since the resin doesn't stick to it very well. I'm applying the base coat, and because this needs to sit for a while now, I can finally go and have some rest. 2 hours later, it is 6 AM. I am really exhausted. I had to set an alarm just to be able to wake up, but the resin is tacky and it's the perfect time for the next step, which is to apply the carbon. And I'm gonna use this. This is chopped carbon. And the reason why I chose this is because when it's gonna be finished, it has this marble-like effect, and I think it's going to be perfect for the luxurious interior that I'm after. First, I need to make sure that I have gloves on, because the resin is really difficult to clean without solvent and my hands are still hurting from my last adventure. I'm applying the chopped carbon with my fingers and tap it to stick, and I'm trying to apply it as random as possible. After that, I'm mixing resin again and I'm applying a very thick coat to soak all the carbon. Because at this point the fibers are still loose, it is vital to apply the resin only by tapping it with the brush. After this, I need to let this fully cure so I can finally go and get some sleep. Friday morning, one day to go. This is my interior. At this point I think it's starting to get desperate. Anyhow, at least I have this done, which I know that it doesn't look like much, but it is going to get a lot better than this. So now that the resin is very hard, I'm sanding the parts with 120 grit sandpaper. This is very coarse, but at this stage I just need to get rid of anything that is standing proud and create a good stable surface for the next coat. After I finish sanding them, I degrease the parts again and I'm applying the second coat of resin. Another reason why I love to work with chopped carbon is that if I have a spot that I sanded too much and I went through the carbon, or I just have a small spot that I want to adjust, like here, there you go, there's that spot. So what I'm going to do is just to apply a small piece of carbon, and I'm going to cover the defect. And this is great, this is something that you can't do with normal twill carbon since it will just show. After, I'm going to finish applying the resin. I'll need to let them sit, and in a few hours when the surface is tacky, I'm just gonna come back and apply a new coat of resin. Friday night, a few hours to go. The reason why I pushed with the interior till this last minute is because I was thinking to do as much as possible, put everything on the car with a big sign saying work in progress and take the car to the show. In the meantime, because I do have a new set of seats, this one's really nice, black Alcantara with leather and a matching steering wheel, a custom set of headlights, a custom cluster, my old exhaust, a really good stock dashboard. I was thinking, okay, then I can put all of these parts on the car and have the car show ready. And even though it's going to look really nice, it's not really the vision that I had in mind for this car, so now I don't really know what to do. I am super disappointed because I pushed myself to the limit these past few weeks. It is 1:30 a.m. I should be leaving in 4 hours. I can finish the car in time, but I don't really know if I should go or not. Leave me a comment, tell me what you would do if you were in my shoes. And now, faced with a tough decision, do I push forward and bring the car to the show, or stay true to my vision and transform it into something truly unique in this world? Curious to find out what happened? Click or tap on the screen right now and watch this video here. My name is Camille, thank you for watching, I'll see you next time.